Okay, so here we have a beautiful femur bone, which is the bone of the thigh. And we have the proximal end here, which has a very distinctive shape. And we'll look at the proximal end first. Okay, so here's the beautiful head of the femur. And the head is the portion. Just going to grab our matching hip bone here. Okay, this is the portion that fits into that beautiful acetabulum. What a gorgeous ball and socket joint. That is a really nice fit. Okay, so whenever you have a good fit between your bones, you know that that's going to help you as far as joint stability. And this is a very, very stable joint. Okay, and that's what we want in the lower limb and pelvic girdle. We want a lot of stability because this is where we're getting our movements. Okay, or kind of, it's our base that we're starting our movements from. Okay, so we have our head, and again, when you have a head, you have a neck right next door. The neck of the femur is a true weak area in the bone, and if you have any kind of force that's exerted at the distal end that pushes, tries to push the proximal end out of the hip socket, you're actually more likely to break the neck of the femur than you are to dislocate the hip. Okay, and one of the strange things about this bone is that if people have a break here, that's the break that they refer to as somebody having a broken hip. Okay, if you break your actual hip bone, they say you have a broken pelvis. I have no idea why, but that is the case. Okay, now the other, we're going to turn to the posterior side now. Other landmarks that you see here that are right next to the neck are the trochanters. We have a large trochanter and we have a smaller trochanter. So the larger one is the greater trochanter. The smaller one is the lesser trochanter. And again, both are locations where we have muscles and ligaments attached. A lot of the ligaments that help to stabilize the hip joint are attached to the trochanters. Okay, if you start at the greater trochanter and kind of head down at a little diagonal toward mid-diaphysis, you'll see that there's this roughened area on the bone. That is the gluteal tuberosity. Okay, and that is the location where one of our gluteal muscles attaches to the femur. Okay, now the gluteal tuberosity leads to a roughened area on the posterior midline of the bone. Okay, and this is referred to as the linea aspera. Okay, now all of our other landmarks are at the distal end of the bone. We'll start posteriorly since that's where we are. And these smooth surfaces that you see here are the condyles of the femur. Okay, I'm going to kind of pan up for a minute. The condyle that's on the same side as the head has to be the medial condyle. Okay, because the head has to be facing medially to interact with the acetabulum. So that means that the condyle over here has to be the lateral condyle. Okay, the depression between them is the intercondylar fossa. Okay, so it's a depression between the condyles, the intercondylar fossa. Okay, now where you have condyles, next to that you have epicondyles. Okay, so this would be the lateral epicondyle over here. This would be the medial epicondyle over here. Okay, and the medial epicondyle, as you go to its ridge here, as it's getting close to the diaphysis, there's this little bump here. And that bump is the adductor tubercle. Okay, and that is where the adductor magnus muscle attaches to have give us some of our adduction of the thigh from the hip. Okay, so we go to the anterior side of the bone. Our last landmark is this nice smooth surface, which is the patellar surface. So this is the surface that the patella moves against as we're flexing and extending the knee. So the patella actually makes a gliding joint with the knee in this location.